If you have $1 million saved for retirement in 2026, you might still be broke by traditional financial standards. That is not a sensationalist claim. It is a mathematical reality that is reshaping how every serious retirement planner, financial advisor, and research institution in America is now thinking about retirement income. For decades, the formula seemed simple. Save 25 times your annual expenses, withdraw 4% per year. Your money lasts 30 years. Retirement secured. That framework worked reasonably well from the 1990s into the early 2000s. But a convergence of forces in 2026 has quietly broken that model, and most people who are counting on $1 million to carry them through retirement are working with outdated math. This video explains exactly what changed, why the old numbers no longer hold, and what the new retirement math means for your savings targets right now. The 4% rule, where it came from and why it is cracking. The 4% rule was developed by financial planner William Bengen in 1994. His research studied historical U.S. market data going back to 1926 and determined that a retiree could withdraw 4% of their portfolio in year one, adjust that amount upward annually for inflation, and have a very high probability of not running out of money over a 30-year retirement. That research was grounded in a specific set of market conditions, bond yields, inflation patterns, and life expectancy assumptions that are meaningfully different from the environment retirees face in 2026. Morningstar, one of the most respected independent investment research firms in the world, publishes an annual safe withdrawal rate report. Their 2026 figure is 3.9%, up slightly from 3.7% in 2025, but still below the traditional 4%. Crucially, this 3.9% rate comes with a built-in 10% probability of portfolio failure over a 30-year retirement. That means even if you follow the updated guidance precisely, there is a 1 in 10 chance your money runs out before you do. For a $1 million portfolio, the difference between 4% and 3.9% is just $1,000 per year. But when you work backward from a lower withdrawal rate to determine how much you actually need to save, the numbers shift dramatically. These numbers are planning benchmarks, not one-size-fits-all rules, and your exact situation can shift them significantly. The new math: 30 times expenses, not 25 times. The traditional 4% rule implied a savings target of 25 times your annual expenses. If you spend $60,000 per year, you needed $1.5 million. If you spend $40,000 per year, $1 million was the milestone. The updated consensus among retirement researchers and fiduciary advisors is converging toward a 3.25% to 3.5% withdrawal rate as the more conservative and defensible planning benchmark for new retirees in 2026, particularly those retiring before age 67 or with longer expected retirement horizons. At a 3.25% withdrawal rate, your required corpus is approximately 30 times your annual expenses, not 25 times. Here's what that shift looks like in real numbers. If your essential annual retirement expenses are $50,000, the 25 times rule told you to save $1.25 million. The 30 times rule now tells you the safer target is $1.5 million. If your annual expenses are $60,000, the 25 times target was $1.5 million. The 30 times target then is $1.8 million. If you live in a high-cost area and your retirement spending is $80,000 per year, you now need $2.4 million instead of the $2 million the old framework suggested. For the millions of Americans who hit the $1 million milestone and assumed they were retirement ready, these revised numbers represent a significant gap. If you are finding this breakdown genuinely useful, take a second right now and hit the like button. It directly helps more people who are navigating retirement planning access this kind of serious data-driven content. The two forces driving the shift. Two specific forces are applying the most pressure on retirement portfolios in 2026. The first is healthcare cost inflation. The 2026 Retirement Healthcare Costs Data Report from HealthView Services projects a long-term healthcare inflation rate of 5.8% annually. That is more than double the general consumer price index. In 2026, Medicare Part B premiums grew by nearly 10%, while the Social Security cost of living adjustment was only 3.2%. That gap between healthcare inflation and Social Security growth is a structural problem that compounds over a 20 to 30-year retirement. National average lifetime healthcare premiums for a healthy 65-year-old couple retiring in 2026 are projected at approximately $689,000 through traditional Medicare options alone. When deductibles, copays, and dental and vision expenses are added, that figure rises to over $955,000. That is nearly a full $1 million earmarked for healthcare costs in a retirement that most people are trying to fund with exactly $1 million total. The second force is sequence of returns risk. This is one of the most misunderstood and underappreciated threats in retirement planning, and it is especially relevant right now. Sequence of returns risk describes the danger of experiencing poor market performance in the early years of your retirement, precisely when you are beginning to draw down your portfolio. Here is why timing matters so profoundly. Two retirees both have $1 million portfolios. Both experience an identical average annual return of 6% over 20 years. But retiree A experiences strong positive returns in the first 5 years before a downturn hits. Retiree B experiences the market downturn first in years 1 through 5 before the recovery arrives. Both see the same average return, but retiree B runs out of money years earlier because every withdrawal taken during the downturn permanently reduces the capital available to recover when markets improve. The S&P 500 has experienced notable volatility in early 2026. And financial advisors at Capital Group and U.S. Bank are now actively emphasizing sequence risk planning as a top priority for anyone retiring in the next 3 to 5 years. What $1 million actually delivers in 2026? Let us run the honest numbers. At a conservative 3.25% withdrawal rate, a $1 million portfolio produces $32,500 per year in retirement income. At 3.5%, it produces $35,000 per year. The average Social Security benefit in 2026 is approximately $1,900 per month, which is $22,800 per year. Combined with a $1 million portfolio withdrawal, a retiree in this scenario is living on roughly $55,000 to $57,000 per year before taxes. Now subtract healthcare costs. If healthcare inflation continues at 5.8% annually, a couple could realistically be spending $15,000 to $25,000 per year on healthcare-related expenses by their mid-70s, depending on coverage choices and health status. What started as $55,000 in annual income begins to feel materially tighter year after year. This is the arithmetic that redefines $1 million as a starting point rather than a finish line for many American retirees. Practical strategies to address the gap. The response to this reality is not panic, it is planning. Here are 4 concrete strategies that retirement researchers and advisors are prioritizing in 2026. The first is extending your savings window if possible. Every additional year of contributions to your 401k, Roth IRA, or taxable brokerage account adds both direct savings and additional compounding time. For 2026, the IRS 401k contribution limit is $23,500 for workers under 50 and $31,000 for workers 50 and older under the catch-up provision. Maxing these accounts in the years approaching retirement creates meaningful additional buffer. The second is delaying Social Security. For every year you delay claiming Social Security beyond your full retirement age up to age 70, your benefit grows by approximately 8% per year. Delaying from age 67 to 70 increases your monthly benefit by roughly 24%. In an environment where healthcare inflation is consistently outpacing Social Security COLAs, a higher base benefit provides compounding protection. The third is building a cash buffer or income floor. Keeping 1 to 2 years of living expenses in a high-yield savings account or short-term treasury instruments protects you from being forced to sell equities at a loss during a market downturn in the early years of retirement. This is the most direct hedge against sequence of returns risk, and it is now standard guidance from institutions including Schwab and U.S. Bank. The fourth is adjusting your withdrawal strategy dynamically. Rather than taking a fixed 3.5% or 3.9% every year regardless of market conditions, a flexible withdrawal approach reduces your draw rate in down years and pulls slightly more in strong market years. Research consistently shows this flexibility meaningfully extends portfolio longevity without requiring significantly higher starting savings. The bottom line. $1 million is still a significant achievement and a meaningful foundation, But in 2026, it is not the automatic retirement safety net it was once assumed to be. Healthcare inflation running at 5.8% annually, a revised Morningstar safe withdrawal rate of 3.9%, and the very real threat of sequence of returns, risk in today's volatile markets, collectively demand a more honest and updated set of expectations. The new retirement math points toward a 30 times expense corpus as the more defensible target. That means $1.5 million for $50,000 spenders, $1.8 million for $60,000 spenders, and over $2 million for households with higher lifestyle costs. The people who will retire securely in 2026 and beyond are not the ones who hit an arbitrary number and stopped. They are the ones who ran the real math, understood the real risks, and built their plans around what those numbers actually demand. If this gave you a clearer, more honest picture of where retirement planning stands right now, subscribe to this channel. Every week covers research-driven financial content built for people who want real answers, not just reassuring ones. That subscribe button is one click, and the next video might be the one that changes how you plan everything.